All Jason needed now was a crew, but not just any crew. He didn't wander the waterfront of Volos looking for deckhands. The legend as it's come down to us is a roll call of every great name from the Age of Heroes. The most famous crew that ever was.
This is the monument to the Argo and its crew, and here's the crew. All the most famous heroes in Greece. Hercules, Heracles, Orpheus, Castor, they're all here. Polydevkis, Theseus. They're like the Magnificent Seven. Everyone has their great talent or quality. And down here, Atalante, the great runner, girl, the only female member of the crew.
The legend says that Jason sailed from Greece to Colchis, today's Georgia. But the way the earliest poets saw it, the Black Sea was part of the great ocean which circled the earth. It was literally a voyage to the edge of the world. At the start of the journey, Jason is young, inexperienced in the ways of men. And as Mount Pelion fades into the distance, he bursts into tears.
Something strangely unheroic about Jason. All the things that happened to him almost happened by chance. You think of the other great Greek heroes, I mean Achilles, his great quality is killing people without thinking. Odysseus, wiliness and cunning, he's always 2 steps ahead of everybody else. They're the kind of models by which young men should live their lives by and define themselves as men. Jason's different.
Jason's not macho, he's not a killer, and he's receptive to the power of women. In fact, Jason's relations with women will be his fate. As with other great heroes in the world's myths, Gilgamesh, King Arthur, even James Bond, he achieves his quest only with the help of a divine woman. And so the journey, as some ancient writers understood it, was also an inward voyage, a tale of initiation. And Jason's first test was on the island of Lemnos.
As they approached the island, the Argonauts realized with alarm that a host of warriors had come out to meet them. To their surprise, though, they soon discovered that the warriors were women. Their queen, Hypsipyle, was the first to speak, blushing in a most unwarlike fashion. "Stranger," she said to Jason, "do not be afraid. We are unprotected. We have lost all our men." And she told Jason how the women of Lemnos had been cursed by the goddess of love, and how, as a result, all their men had abandoned them for other women and left the island. "So," she continued, "we invite you all to stay here with us, and if the prospect pleases you, to come to our beds."
Of course, it sounds like another fairy story, but the tale of the Lemnian women was already well known to Homer in the 8th century BC. The place where it happened, Bronze Age Lemnos, was the earliest town in Europe, and strangely enough, it imported metals from the Black Sea coast on the way to Colchis, the land of the Golden Fleece.
Astonishing to think that Polyocny was founded in the 5th millennium BC. That's before the pyramids, before Stonehenge. It was the most advanced Neolithic culture in the Aegean Sea, and in a volcanic island, it was a metalworking place. Homer calls it smoke-shrouded Lemnos, and it lasts all the way through to the Trojan War. So this was the Lemnos of the Greek myths. This was the town that the Argonauts came to in the story, and the place where the Lemnian women received them.
But the Lemnian women, don't forget, had been cursed by the goddess of love. She'd given them a stink so foul that they repelled all men. Now, where did that weird tale come from? Well, the women in Bronze Age Lemnos were skilled in dyeing cloth. They used a dye made from the glands of a sea snail mixed with human urine. It produces the richest colour and the worst stink on earth. A clue to a Bronze Age reality behind the tale? By making love to the women, the Argonauts broke the curse.
You are all the children of the Argonauts.
With Argonauts, yes.
But the women of Lemnos had a dark secret. What they hadn't told Jason was that they'd murdered all their men. Got them drunk one night, stuffed them in sacks, and thrown them into the sea.
So this is the cliff.
Oui.
Place where they threw them off.
Petaxa, a Greek. Petaxa.
Throw.
Petai, throw.
Throw. Wow. So the name of the cliff preserves the legend. Petaxa is to throw in Greek. This in the legend is the place where the Lemnian women threw them off the cliff into the sea.
As so often in Greek myths, the fairy tale turns out to be strange and cruel. Queen Ipsipili fell in love with Jason and asked him to stay and see his sons grow up. But Jason was a hero on a quest, and he had to go on.
So we've had high winds for the last 2 days and we couldn't get off the island, but ferries finally arrived.
In the Bronze Age, the Age of Heroes, the name of the month of May, Ploistio, meant the time when sailing began. In winter, it was best to stay in harbour. Even today, few Greeks, unless they have to, venture out of season across the wine-dark sea. Jason's quest, I'm sure, was a summer voyage. He wouldn't risk the wrath of Poseidon, the god of the sea. But as insurance, Jason landed at the island of Samothrace, home of the mysterious great gods, to get their magic protection before passing beyond the limits of the known. To reach the Black Sea, the Argonauts now needed to navigate the fierce currents pouring out of the great ocean through the Bosphorus.
Istanbul, once Constantinople, greatest city in the world.
Now a great Turkish city, Istanbul has always been the crossroads between Europe and Asia. It was founded by the Greeks around 700 BC. In one version of the legend, it was Jason himself who built the first shrine on this spot. The beginning of one of the great colonizing adventures in history, which opened up the Black Sea and southern Russia to Greek civilization.
So this was built in the middle of the 6th century, and for nearly 1,000 years was the main church of the Greek Orthodox world, the center of the Greek Christian world that succeeded the world of the ancients.
But in the myth, all that is a dream of the future. For Jason, the straits of the Bosphorus were guarded by a terrifying obstacle that crushed all ships trying to pass. The clashing rocks. Only one man knew the secret of how to sail through. Phineus the seer, who'd been blinded by the gods for telling too much of the future.
Listen, Jason, said Phineus. About your destiny, I can only reveal what the gods permit. For Zeus, the king of the gods, wills it that humanity shall never see all of heaven's design. But for the clashing rocks, as you approach the cliffs, release a dove to fly on ahead. The rocks will clash shut. As they reopen, you must seize your chance and row through with all your might. But sir, said Jason, will we get safely back to Greece? That's what we want to know. My son, said the old man, I can say no more. But remember this, your best ally is Aphrodite, the goddess of love. The success of your quest depends on her. Ask me no more.